Hello there, my very good friends. A quick spoiler warning before we dive into this news video today. All of these stories pretty much have Backlash spoilers, so if you're trying to avoid those, maybe save this until after you've seen the show. There's your fair warning. Let's do the proper intro. Roll the stuff. Why am I telling myself to roll this? That's really stupid. Anyway, John Cena brutally assaults a fan at the Backlash press conference. We got some details on John Cena's last match in WWE. A major debut took place at Backlash. And finally, we'll talk about the top WWE star who may have been injured at Backlash as well. I'm Andy, filling in for the great Andrew Pollard. It's a tall task, but I'm going to try and do as good a job as he usually does. As tall as the man himself. If you ever met him, you'd be astounded by the sheer height of the lad. Very nice too. But anyway, let's kick this one off talking about John Cena assaulting his biggest fan. Someone who considers him his childhood hero at the Backlash press conference. Look, I'm talking about R-Truth here. It's part of R-Truth's character, isn't it? He's a Cena mark. He loves the guy. He's his childhood hero. He's been the one guy throughout this whole heel turn going, John Cena is a good dude, when everyone else has been like, hello R-Truth, you are incorrect. He is a bad man, as he once rapped back in the day. But Truth was involved in the main event. The Backlash main event was, of course, John Cena versus Randy Orton. It went about, I don't know, the best part of half an hour, maybe like 28 minutes. It ended in all kinds of kerfuffle and shenanigans, and there's bumps, interferences, all kinds of referee stuff as well. And the kerfuffle and shenanigans did involve R-Truth, who stopped Orton from winning the match at one point. He interfered because he's a Cena mark. It's part of his character. We're a bit cheeky in saying fan assaulted, but hey, look, it fits the kayfabe. And as we all know, these post-match, post-show press conferences are like 90% kayfabe these days. They're all kind of worked stuff. And questions about Waffle House, which I actually enjoy, so fair enough. Shout outs to the Waffle House muscle man Malcolm. I get a pop out of those. It's whatever. It's fun. Anyway, during the press conference, Triple H was Cena retained, by the way. He beat Randy Orton. But during the press conference, Triple H was about to answer a question about celebrity usage, when John Cena interrupted and he said, I'm going to answer some questions. Previously, he said he was not going to answer some questions. He's a man of contradictions, this John Cena. But just as he was about to try and answer a question, R-Truth came in and he congratulated Cena. He said he was proud of him, even if people were saying that he sucked and he couldn't wrestle. So he immediately stood in the muck there. Cena got up and he was very calm. He warned him. He said, listen, R-Truth, if you say anything else, I am going to beat you up. I'm going to lay you out. Truth started. He was trying to explain himself, so Cena just grabbed him straight away and ate him through the table. Now, of course, like I said earlier, Cena has been whenever people have been backstage going, this Cena's no good, R-Truth has been like, no, he's my childhood hero and he is good. Well, now we just got an AA through a table. Now, the likeliest next step in all of this is probably a title fight at Saturday night's main event, which is in 2 weeks. It's on the 24th. Corey Hayes of PW Nexus reported that over the weekend, that was going to be one of the title fights on that show, along with Jey Uso versus Logan Paul. So it's going to be a real work rate show is what I'm hearing from this one. Jokes aside, Truth and Cena have been kind of tied together in WWE lore for ages and ages. They've, of course, wrestled each other in the past, like 2011. But the roles are flipped this time. Obviously, Cena's a heel. They're reversing that. They're turning it around. They're putting it on its head. So, like, in kayfabe, it would make sense for these two to have some kind of match. Now, I do see the argument that a few people have made that when you have John Cena on his retirement tour for limited dates, maybe it's not the best use of him putting him in a match with R-Truth. Maybe you want bigger things than that. But it does make a bit of storyline sense. And look, John Cena 2025 version, he's not going to go out there and have classics. I don't think. He's not going to go out there and match his CM Punk match from 2011 or his Umaga match or his AJ Styles matches or name another classic John Cena match. But I get both sides of the argument for sure. Put a little poll up actually on our community page to see what you guys think of this. So not only should you let us know in the comment section what you think of Truth versus Cena, but vote in the poll as well on the community page. It's an interesting bit of data. I think most people are for it. At least among our audiences, the early results were very positive. So there you go. But yeah, they shot this angle on the post-show press conference. Just shows that these things are, while it would be great if they were hosting, legit press conferences where it was like, hey, ask us about Saudi Arabia and stuff like that. These things are worked now, basically, aren't they? They shot a wrestling angle on it, so there you go. Cena, he's got like 20-something dates left. Actually, let's just seg into the story now about his last match. So we know he's here for the rest of the year. But it was reported yesterday, WCVB, which is a Boston outlet, Massachusetts outlet, a news station, they confirmed that John Cena's final match will take place in Boston at the TD Garden in December. We don't have a specific date for that yet, but again, Corey Hayes of PW Nexus, that man again, popping up. He reported previously that there's going to be a Saturday night's main event there at TD Garden on the 13th of December, so maybe it'll be on that show. They are marketed basically like pay-per-views, those shows, even though they air on TV. They're fun. I like them. I like the Saturday night's main event. They're often no nonsense. They're often just, hey, here's 4 matches, 5 matches, whatever. Minimal fluff in the middle, my kind of stuff. I enjoy that. So we'll see if that comes to pass. Obviously, Cena's been billed as from Boston his whole career, pretty much. So it makes a lot of sense for him to have his final match there. It does make me wonder if they are going to do the rumored babyface turn again before he goes away, because it would be very, very hard for him to not get cheered there, unless the crowd's just willing to play ball on an angle. But yeah, it does make me wonder how and when they're going to do that. I think a longer term story would be ideal, but they've only got him for another 7 months or so. Is that right, Maths? Let me know if I'm wrong. Yeah, I'm sure you will anyway. There's a lot of questions to be asked about this match. No word on who his final opponent will be. I do like the idea of inverting the CM Punk storyline, but that doesn't from 2011. But that doesn't really work if Cena's going to go face again. So we shall see. Randy Orton might have been a lot of people's picks because they've wrestled like 300 times or something. But they kind of X'd that one off last night. Unless Orton's going heel. I don't know. There's all kinds of ways and moves and directions and things they can do for this. Someone involving The Rock, if he shows up again, I have no idea. They showed him up. They called him to work for Elimination Chamber, and then they were like, hey, no WrestleMania. So who the heck knows what's going on with that stuff. But yeah, Boston, TD Garden, makes a lot of sense. I watched the Boston Celtics get their mojo back last night against the Knicks. That was at MSG, so I don't know why I even brought that up, to be honest. It's not the same building at all. It's not even in the same city or the same state. But yeah, look, let us know what you think of this John Cena heel run in general so far. Are you fired up? Are you still into it? Has it lost you a little bit? I've seen both sides. I've seen people going, hey, I love this. I've seen people going, hey, this could have been better. I've seen people going, hey, this is dog turds. So, you've got the full range of opinions on how this run has gone. I do think the last night's match was better than the WrestleMania main event. A lot of people hated the WrestleMania main event, so fair play. Still a lot of shenanigans and kerfuffle, but that's going to be Cena for this run. He's a heel, and his matches have always had lots of shenanigans and kerfuffle in them. We'll see how all of that goes. I mean, maybe they just build the entire Saturday night's main event in December around him wrestling in his last match. Maybe you don't need much else on that card. Maybe it's just little things to prop up and support it. But we'll see. Let us know who you want to see him face in that match as well, actually. Orton, Punk, Cody, The Rock. Thrice in a lifetime? Good grief. What would that look like in 2025? I have absolutely no idea. But look, we're going to move on to something that isn't John Cena now. And we're going to talk about Jeff Cobb. Because he's in the house, he's making noise, he's destroying all the boys. In the opening match, it was the 4-way for the United States Championship. Jacob Fatu successfully defended against LA Knight. Yeah, you have to say that. If you don't say that, a little LA Knight comes off the camera and beats you up. Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre. Fatu was successful in retaining his belt, but he wasn't too happy with the interference that took place, and one of the bits of interference that did take place was from Jeff Cobb. Now, we know he's been signed to WWE for a while, and he debuted last night. Basically, there was a bunch of shenanigans and interference. There was a spot where Priest and McIntyre got wiped out. That left it basically just down to Knight versus Fatu. Effectively, you know what they did at WrestleMania. They had a really good match at WrestleMania, and this was a good four-way as well. But there was a point where Knight had Jacob Fatu on the announce table. He was going to hit an elbow drop through off the top rope and through the announce table, but Solo Sikoa moved him out of the way. That meant that Knight could not jump off. Well, I mean, he still could have jumped off. He'd have just gone through the table on his own, and that would have been really dumb. So I'm glad he didn't do that. Looking after himself, LA Knight. He tried to go after Solo as a result of this, but Cobb blindsided him with a clothesline. So it looks like he's going to be linked to the Bloodline, or whatever they're called these days. The Solo guys. I don't know. Come up with a better name than that. Not hard. But of course there's no DQs in Fatal 4-Ways, so Cobb beat the crap out of Knight and sent him back in the ring, and that allowed Fatu to score the pin. Now, even though Fatu won, he was standing in the ring like, what the hell? What's going on? I'm not sure I agree with this. He did hit the double jump moonsault after the interference as well to get the pinfall. So there you go. They're still going with that idea of maybe Fatu turning face against these heels. I think it's an interesting direction for Jeff Cobb, because I think I really liked Adam Wilborn. He's not here today, but I liked his fantasy booking, throwing him in the Seth Rollins stable, maybe having some kind of big beefy team up with Braun Breaker. That would have been that would have been cool. Didn't really see the Bloodline stuff coming, to be honest. But yeah, it's a pretty interesting group. Obviously, they've had a few injuries lately, but him, Solo, Tama Tonga, Tongaloa, Jacob Fatu's still there. Probably going to do a feud. I mean, Jacob Fatu versus Jeff Cobb is a really fun match. So if we're getting that down the line, hey, great, fantastic stuff. But yeah, Cobb's been he's been in the news quite a lot lately. There was a report, I don't know, it must have been a couple of months ago at this point, about his contract winding down with New Japan and WWE's his likely spot. He then became an IWGP World Tag Team Champion with Callum Newman about not long after that. And then he went on Twitter and went, "Ha! Dirt sheets, you got it wrong. I'm not leaving," basically. And then 6 days later or something, it was announced he was leaving and they had to vacate the belt. So it's kind of funny. He tweeted about going on retirement. That lasted about a week. Yesterday, he was like, "Yeah, short retirement. I'm in the Fed now." So it's been a fun ride following Jeff Cobb's social media over the past few weeks. But if you're not familiar with Jeff Cobb, just go on YouTube and look up some matches. He's really fun wrestler, extremely strong and powerful. He's a former amateur or freestyle wrestler, so he's got pedigree. Great, pretty long New Japan run. He was on the Indies before that, big breakout star. He's just so much fun. The tour of the islands, all his suplexes and throws and stuff that he does. You're going to have a ball if you've never seen him before. His stuff as Matanza and Lucha Underground was great as well. So yeah, if you don't know Jeff Cobb, be prepared you've just met one of your favorite new wrestlers. And if he's not one of your favorite new wrestlers, hey, we just have different tastes. And that's okay, man. We can exist in different spaces. But yes, let's talk about Drew McIntyre now. He seems to have been injured a little bit. Concussed, perhaps, at Backlash. We have an update on him, Poe. He's doing okay. He's doing fine. That's the update, basically. So there was this spot where Priest gave McIntyre a South of Heaven from a platform through some tables. During this spot, McIntyre's head unfortunately missed the table and it landed on the concrete. PW Insider had reported that Drew was getting checked out by WWE Medical and was being evaluated. Brian Alvarez also reported that McIntyre was being checked for a concussion. But Triple H updated people during the press conferences saying he's a little bit banged up, Drew, but he's fine following the thing. So that's good. He's had a bunch of little injuries recently. He had the stuff with his eyeball when they did the real glass angle on SmackDown. He was a pirate for a couple of weeks. And he's had a few other bits and pieces here and there. But look, Drew leaves it out there, man. He throws down. He goes hard. He takes crazy bumps. He works extremely hard. I say he takes crazy bumps. It's not like he's going through pains of barbed wire doors and stuff like that. But he probably would if he was told to. He's got that dog in him for sure. So it's inevitable it's inevitable for any wrestler. They're going to pick up little bumps and knocks and concussions and stuff here and there. And look, concussions are serious business. They have to be taken with the utmost seriousness because they can force wrestlers into, if not elongated timeout, then retirement and hiatuses and stuff like that. They're absolutely brutal and they're extremely variable as well. It can be a couple of weeks. It can be a couple of years. It can be a couple of forevers. You never know with concussions. So I'm glad they took it seriously and they had him evaluated. That's how it should work. Someone takes a big bump, they're not looking right, they're not feeling right after a match, check them out. Get the experts on the case. It's not for us keyboard doctors to decide who is fit to compete and who isn't. It's down to the professionals. So always get advice and stuff like that. But yeah, I think that Drew has been, last year one of WWE's top performers, if not the top performer in the company, through the Punk stuff and other stuff in the year as well. He really killed it. This year he's worked extremely hard as well with what he's been given. I thought the Priest match at WrestleMania was a lot of fun. And again, both guys just left it out there. They emptied the tanks. And I'm really interested to see what he does next. Maybe another Priest match, perhaps. I think the format of the Triple H era is often like multiple versions of the match within the feuds. Sometimes it works out. Sometimes it's like, okay, let's move on to the next one. But I'm pretty confident that they'll make something worthwhile. But yeah, I mean, if this guy hasn't earned another world title run at some point soon as well, it's like, what more does he have to do? How much further does he have to go to do that? But we'll see as the year progresses. It's obviously a very busy scene, but Drew's one of the top guys, and I'm always rooting for him to do well. So hey, thanks for joining me for this Sunday news video. I'll be back tomorrow with Adam, doing our usual stuff. I'm sure it'll be fun. I'm sure it'll be good. I'm sure there will be some kind of stupid thing for us to laugh about and be merry and all that stuff. So I'll see you later. I've been Andy. Here's a nice video that you're going to enjoy as well on your screen right now. Bye, 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 bye.